What I'm going to talk to you about now is a brand new tent from Naturehike. This tent's only just been released, and I thought, as soon as I saw it, I thought I have to have that tent. Now, if you've watched some of my previous reviews on tents, you'll be aware that I've had 3 Naturehike tents up to now. Probably one of my favourites was the Naturehike Cloud Up 2. Excellent little tent. I'll put some links at the end of this video so you can have a look at that. But the new tent from Naturehike is not widely available at this moment in time. Quite excited about it actually, because the Cloud Up 2 that I had, particularly the Cloud Up 2 that I had, I really enjoyed. The tent's gone now because I can't keep all the tents that I buy. I have to keep turning them over to be able to review new tents. But this is a new one. You'll see a lot more of this tent as we go into 2025. It'll become more widely available. So what I actually bought is the Naturehike Cloud Up 2 Pro, brand new 2024. Let's have a look at it and I'll talk through the spec. I'll show you the erection of the tent and I'll explain what the tent's about. So the tent itself comes in 2 parts. You get the tent, and as is normal with Naturehike, you get a free footprint. So to start with, the bag is ultralight material, and there's a little grab handle on the back to allow you to pull your tent out. And on the bag itself there's a little cinch cord there. It obviously has its label on, and it comes with instructions on how to put the tent up. And they're sewn into the bag. So we have a little strap, Velcro strap, and this is the actual fly inner poles and pegs. So as I've said to you, this is brand new for 2024, not widely available. There's no UK seller at the moment seems to be selling them, but I would imagine by the time you get into 2025 these will become fairly widespread. Now this isn't really an upgrade on the previous Cloud Up 2 because the Cloud Up 2 is still available. This is designed as a lightweight tent for backpacking, and the price, the recommended retail price would appear to be about £135. I paid £111 directly from China on AliExpress. The pack size is 40 centimetres by 13. But if you take the poles out, that would compress down, and I've tried it, compresses down to that size. The weight of the entire setup, that's the fly, the inner, the poles and the pegs, is 162 grams, and that's without the footprint. With the footprint, it's 191 grams. It's classed as a 3-season tent, and I think that's about right, really. It's the Cloud Up 2 was never a winter tent, and this is not going to be a winter tent either because it's a lighter weight tent than the Cloud Up 2. Lighter material, slight different design. I would say for the UK, this is an ideal late spring, summer, early autumn tent. So just to give you an example, the old Cloud Up 2 weighs or weighed 1.8 kilogram without the footprint. And the old Cloud Up 2 had a hydrostatic head of 4,000, both on fly and floor. And the pack size of that was 45 by 12. So it comes in this really nice khaki colour, and also you can get it in grey. This khaki colour is really nice, very, very attractive, very on point with colouring at the moment. Really like it. It's a 20 denier sil nylon, so it's silicone coated nylon. Pretty similar but slightly lighter weight than the Cloud Up 2. It's 20 denier and it's got a 2000 millimeter hydrostatic head. The inner has a mix of bathtub flooring, which is 5000 hydrostatic head, and it's a 210T polyester. The side walls are a mix of solid and mesh. The mesh is one of their standard meshes, and it's a B3 mesh. Looks pretty fine actually. That's really good. When you consider this tent is £111 at the moment anyway, that's the price that I've paid, you're getting a lot of value for money out of this tent. We'll have a little look at the poles. Yeah, so these poles are a brand called Yuxon, and 8.5 millimeter aluminium alloy. We've got some colour coded ends. I've not read any instructions, but we've got colour coded ends there. Oh yes, and so we've got red colour coded for one end and grey for the other. These look nice poles actually. They do look decent quality. It's an all-in-one pole. You'll see it when it goes up actually, easier. The pegs are also Yuxon. Might be their own brand for all I know, but there's 14 of them, and they're 15 centimetres long, and they are 70-75 aluminium alloy. Yeah, I'm liking this. They just look decent quality. So guys, let's have a look at what it looks like. If you've not seen a Cloud Up 2 before, this will be a good chance to see one. This is the Pro, and the idea behind the Pro is to make it if not ultra light, to make it a light backpacking tent. And what we've got there is, as you can see, red to red. And on the rear, it's grey to grey. This is a good way of actually setting your tent up by using the ground sheet first. And then you can sort of reposition it to exactly where you'd want to. Prior to putting the inner up. It's an inner pitch first, although you can actually manage to do this as a fly first with a little bit of dexterity by putting the fly on and then getting inside and putting the inner up. And you can see from here that you've got larger poles at the front and smaller poles at the back. The inner also has colour coordinated, and these are alloy tabs, so quite strong. You can also set this tent up as a fly only and not put the inner up. So if you're wanting to go ultra light and the weather conditions are right, you can literally discard the inner. You can see that the ground sheet has a buckle, the inner tent has a buckle, and these buckles are used to attach the fly. So if you're attaching it like I'm doing now, you would attach it to the inner. If you were dispensing with the inner, going ultra light, effectively using it like a tarp, you would use the buckle on the ground sheet. So it still has a nice firm connection. And as I've mentioned, the front has the red colour coordinated to go with the red end pieces on the poles. So these clips really click on very, very firmly and nicely. You can see the bottom bathtub, you can see the solid panel where the Naturehike logo is, and then you can see the mesh. So the entire top half of the tent is mesh. The Cloud Up 2 didn't have the solid panel on the door, it just had mesh top to bottom. So far you'll have noticed that I haven't pegged out anything. It is a bit breezy, but I'm sheltered just where I'm at. So there's been no need to peg this out at all. So that's the buckle on the fly sheet, and the buckle, and the buckle that is the inner, and that's just attached simply by clicking it in. If you were not having the inner, and I might try this next summer, you'd click it into the ground sheet buckle. So that's that. These have also got adjustment with the straps. And now we're going to take the fly and just peg that in, just roughly speaking, where I think it should go. Now I noticed the cord here has no adjustment, and what I've done before with cords that don't have adjustment is put elasticated cord on as well, so that when under real windy conditions you get a little bit of flex. But we'll just put that in lightly. Once we've got it completely set up, I'll go around and adjust everything. So essentially that's the Naturehike Cloud Up 2 Pro erected. Now you have some guy out points on either side of the tent, and that's useful because it pulls the material away from the inner. You've got guy out point there, another guy out point there. That's the one on the opposite side. You have a guy out point here, and you have a guy out point here. And this is the vent for the rear of the tent. Right, so I've attached the two guy lines to the side, and you can see how it's pulling it out. I'll tension them up later on. I just want the tent to settle. Beautiful colour, isn't it? Actually, it's really nice for blending in a bit, that. It's not too bright, not too dark. So this is exactly the same as the Cloud Up 2 in the sense that it has the one door on the front. That door is slightly offset to the side. It's velcroed. This storm flap is velcroed. And I don't know what the brand of zip is at the moment, and maybe never find out, but it looks a reasonable reasonable zip. Got to remember, these are at a price point. So the Cloud Up 2, the door comes to that height, which is quite low, but it's not a difficulty if you're used to using smaller one-man tents. And on the Cloud Up 2, you have another vent, like on the back here. But this is designed with a taller door, so the door goes up to here, virtually the height of the front of the tent, but it doesn't have a vent. However, just undo the Velcro, pull the zip down, and there's a little stand-up tab. So to keep it nice and firm, the zip needs to be in that position. It's a double zip. Now, when I've used the Cloud Up 2, and when I used it in hotter weather, I actually left the door open to get plenty of air through. And so this, in warmer, well, in hot weather, with no sign of rain, you could just leave the door open and you're going to get massive amount of air coming through. The likes of this vent is designed twofold, like I said to you, to have a taller door and to reduce weight. So I guess, you know, without having the extra manufacture of a vent and the material, they've just put it into the door, which is what a lot of the ultralight tents do anyway. So I'm going to drop that down again now, and there's a little Velcro holding for it. Just zip up to the top, and then we'll just open it up. So this door has one tie point. Now with the Cloud Up 2, it had one tie point, and it wasn't that great in windy weather, to be honest. But that's easily fixed by just sorting out a better means of connecting it here. So you can see in here, there's something I've noticed which I haven't done. There's some little Velcro connectors here to connect to the poles from the fly. One on that side, one on that side. So I'll just do that later on. So we've got a semi-D-shaped door. When I say semi, because it isn't exactly D-shaped, but it goes up to the top there. And then this has a little tie down tab here. What it is with these tie downs, they make them too long, so you can actually shorten them just by putting a loop in the actual toggle strap, and then it makes it much tighter. So that'll sit like that now, which is okay actually, but with a tighter toggle you'll be able to get that really cinched down. So as we move into the tent, and you can see the space you've got there, it's a 2-person tent, and it will take 2 sleep mats quite easily, but you've got sloping walls, so that reduces your space. So something I've noticed, which is different to the Cloud Up 2, apart from the door obviously, is on the Cloud Up 2 it has an attachment just about there in the middle with a tie down that goes and can be pegged out. And the idea of that is that when you've pegged it out, it pulls that floor out to there, like that. If you can see, like that. So it pulls that floor out to there, whereas without it, you've lost that little bit of space. Now that little bit of space makes a difference. Now for me, I'm only 1 person. This will only ever be used as a 1-person tent. So for me, it's not an issue. And again, a resolution to that would be just to simply stitch something here where there is stitching, and then seam seal it, and you could have a peg out point. I suspect, like the lighter materials, like the door, the vent, everything's designed to shave a little bit of weight off, so they can classify it as lightweight, even though the other one's relatively light. This has shaved a little bit of weight off. But of course, I guess they have to find the weight from somewhere. Now, the material of the fly is very similar, and I think it's still a 20D on the Cloud Up 2. They're obviously using some lighter weight poles and lighter weight pegs. The poles look better than the Cloud Up 2. They look stronger, and but they can make little savings of weight with things like that. But if I was going to use this as a 2-person tent, I would stitch some guy line to that and then seam seal it. And to be honest, it would work. It would just work the same as Cloud Up 2, but it would put a little bit of weight on, not much, but a little bit. As you can see, while I'm sat here talking to you, see how that door flaps? It's annoying, isn't it? It's only annoying because I'm speaking to you. But as you can see, I'm 5'9", and I'm sat here about 10 inches into the door, and I've got plenty of room. It slopes towards the back, but again, it's very similar in height and dimensions to the original Cloud Up 2 that I had, and I've had that out in all conditions. I used it through summer and winter. I had it out in stormy weather. That was an interesting video. Storm Arwen, A-R-W-E-N, I think. Storm Arwen. Link will be at the end of the film. Have a look, because that tent was coming down on top of me. It was buckling. The wind was so severe, gale force winds, and I honestly thought that I'd get up in the morning and find that the poles were bent, that things were ripped. Not a bit of it. It withstood that storm. No damage. Well, you wouldn't even know it'd been out in a storm, to be honest. Anyhow, so whilst we're here, very limited on pockets. Again, I think it's shaving weight. But if you want a more ultralight, a much lighter carry if you're backpacking, then these are the things that you would put up with. So you've got a pocket, quite a deep pocket actually. That's better than I was expecting. I think on the Cloud Up 2 it's a triangular one. And triangular ones on quite a few of my tents actually. And they're a bit annoying because things fall out this side. That's good. Nice deep pocket. And you've got exactly the same on that side. And exactly the same this side. Really nice deep pocket. So let's just get this door zipped closed. Nice action on the zip actually. So like I'd mentioned to you, it has less mesh on the door than the Cloud Up 2. The Cloud Up 2 door is entirely mesh. Personally, for our weather conditions in the UK, I prefer this solid at the bottom. So for me, that works really well. Now, the door being higher is better because it's much easier to get in and out. And also, to be fair, you can see out more because if you think from about there up, the door was about there. And we can see here, we can see sky once I get that fly door sorted out. We can see sky. It's quite good, that. I like that. But you do lose what was a very useful pocket that sat here on the Cloud Up 2. So there was a mesh pocket there corresponding to the door being a bit lower. So they've had to get rid of that purely because it wouldn't work with having a higher door, both outer and inner. And again, when I bought the tent, that was one of the things I was a bit unsure about because it was a useful pocket. But now I've seen how deep these pockets are on the side, to be honest with you, I'm quite happy with those. So it's nice one-handed operation for the door. And you can see the mesh at the back there. And the solid panel is a bit lower there, which is good enough because that's your foot end. That allows more air to come in through that bigger mesh panel. And the air is going to come in through the top vent and through the venting at the bottom because this tent doesn't hug the ground. Now I couldn't have done that in the Cloud Up 2. I've got a backpack on, quite a big backpack. And, well, it's not big, but it's got stuff in. I would not have been able to get in and out of the tent with backpack on like I've just done there. So, again, that's a real plus point, that. So, happy days, happy days. My first instinct, because that's the first time I've actually seen it erected, is it's going to be a really nice tent for that spring summer. I do love the colour. I think the configuration's pretty good. There's a couple of niggles like the door, the fly door, but that's easily resolved. All in all, very good. Now, I'm sleeping in it for the next couple of nights. So what I'll do is, once I've had a sleep in it, not so sure we're going to get any rain, but I'm fairly confident it'll do well enough in the rain from previous experience. I'll get back to you and let you know with a little follow-up once I've slept in it. But for now, that's your Cloud Up 2 Pro. I think they'd like to call it ultralight, but I think ultralight is anywhere from 0.8 to 1.23 kilogram. But it would be ultralight if you dispense with the inner. And with this tent, it's designed to be able to do that. Now without the inner, that's a huge tent. Obviously like a tarp, but it's a huge tarp tent.